Hey guys, welcome. This is our draft lottery showing for this year's season. I'm super excited to get this going, and it took a lot of work to prep everything and get it going. But this is second year of I saw I auto drafted. It's super
Mhm.
exciting. We're really pumped to what's gonna come this year. But how is it gonna go? We're gonna do the draft lottery here, virtually. I know last year we did it in person, but we couldn't figure out a way to get it done in person this year, so we're just gonna do it virtually. Yeah, I'm gonna hand it off to Jake. Jake, do you got anything to add here?
Not much really. It'll be a good second year before we transition into Dynasty. We're gonna do our best to up the theatrics a little just to get everyone kind of more excited for the Dynasty and more like bought into the league. Because once the Dynasty starts, we're gonna be in the league for the long haul. So we want to make sure everyone's ready to go and excited. Um, Additionally, I'll just give a quick little rundown. We've already explained it, but I'll just remind everyone. Today we are doing, like Sam said, the draft lottery. So we'll be posting this video, um, and then I'll be reaching out to each individual person. They'll decide where they pick, and then we will do a big like a lead like reveal video with like hype video and intros and all that stuff, and that'll come in a couple of weeks
Yeah. So important things to know. We will send out these interview questions
this week.
in the next, yeah, we said week, and then on top of that, Jake said he will, or I will be reaching out to each of you guys individually, because like we said, it's going to be picking of where you want to pick, but the draft lottery pick, you get to pick where you are, or sorry, the rankings happen, whatever, you get your pick, and then you get to choose where you want to pick. So it's like of order where you want to pick. And then yeah, after that, we're gonna get a nice hype video going and start this season off with a bang. So without further ado, we're gonna introduce our co-hosts for the draft lottery, uh, Cam and Juwan. Starting again. Hey guys, welcome, welcome to I saw I auto drafted draft lottery. Thanks for Sam and Jake for introducing us. But Sam, I don't know what's going on up there. Probably the CTE. This is Juwan. I am Cam, your co-host for today. We are gonna take you through the draft lottery, explain everything, and do a dramatic reveal of this year's draft lottery. All right, so we'll share the screen with you. I'll be in the bottom left. Juwan will be on the right.
Come on.
Juwan. All right. What do you expect today? Any tips and tricks for today's draft lottery, Juwan?
Cam, Jake and Sam, whatever they were doing up there when making this draft lottery, it's a little askewed. I don't really know what the rankings are doing here. Benny, he had a really tough go last year, and I'm not really sure what he was doing come draft day. He was
Mm,
drafting Denver Broncos players, and the Broncos aren't very good.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
I'm not really sure what he was doing, but anyways, he is somehow pick projected to pick fifth.
yeah.
Like,
And I don't really know what
who's
his
where he wants
strategy
to
was
pick.
either. It was interesting coming. He told me I heard um, from an inside source that he just really thought he could believe. And that's one of the biggest issues, right? The Broncos, they can only get so many offensive passing yards.
Yeah.
There's a limitation, there's a cap. And we see that time and time again. They're a good team, don't get me wrong, but fantasy wise, I don't know if that's the way you want to go.
Anyways, Sam and Jake went in with a more experimental approach with the draft lottery this year, given that
Hmm.
they thought that they were going to be doing keepers for a little bit longer, and we'll see how it works out today. At the end of the day, We're everyone's still figuring out how we're doing this league, so we'll see how it goes today.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too bad.
Not too bad, but we'll explain the rules anyways. The draft lottery, as you can see, it's very simplistic. We have our ping pong balls there. You draw a ball. Your team has a set of combinations. It is like the NHL draft lottery, except we are drawing for each individual pick. So the order is Dane, Hunter, Chase, Nolan, Ben, Dallas. And as you can see in front of you, we're drawing for the sixth pick. Now, the reason it says lock, because I know looking at this, it can be a little confusing. The reason it says lock is because if you are the number one or the number two or the number three, you can only drop two picks similar to NHL. So the math is correct. The math is good. It's been run. It all works. This is what we got. We're going to do it live here. It's going to be awesome. Um, anything to say, Juwan, before we get this going?
Nothing really, Cam. I wish the best to all teams involved. I'm rooting for Ben to maybe climb the ranks and get into that top three there.
Hmm.
It could be big for him to have that opportunity to control his draft this year, especially
Hmm.
after the fiasco. Uh, you know, a lot of these guys, I'm looking at Hunter, Chase, Ben, and Dallas. I think those four guys are going to be the front runners this year. They have a lot of draft stock, so I'm not really too concerned about where those guys land in the after this draft lottery, because they have a lot of
Hmm.
draft stock early in the draft, and then they've got a lot to work with.
Yeah.
Um, that being said. I think that this year is going to be very competitive. We're going to have some really good teams, and we're going to have some really bad teams as well. Um, so we'll see how it goes, right? It's going to be an interesting year, given the fact that draft picks cannot be included in trading. That's a big thing because there were a lot of draft picks traded last year. It's going to be quite the switch up. So I'm hoping that everyone's ready for a wild ride. So let's get this underway.
All right, let's draw the first ball. And like we said, this is not as theatrical as we wanted it. So we're gonna draw the ball, and it means absolutely nothing. There is no update. You just get to see where you're picked. All right, draw the ball. One. Boom. We're just gonna draw another ball. Number nine. It means
Who's
nothing.
who has
Who
that one?
has that one?
We don't
We
know.
don't know. Seven. Nolan
Oh,
dropping
brutal.
down.
He has dropped. But that's
And
good
just
news.
like that, that is good news
Good
for
news for
Benny
Dallas
and
and Ben.
Dallas. So now, as you can see right on the scoreboard, wow, what a turn of events. Already seeing drops. That's crazy. Nolan. Nolan. He already had a tough fantasy year. But Drew, I need to go to you. You're the stats guy. What did Nolan do in the deadline? What was his move this year? What did he do?
Let me pull this up. Bear with me. I was not prepared for that question.
I'm pretty sure sorry, I'm pretty sure Nolan, if I remember correctly, has his picks. Most of his picks. He didn't make any significant moves at the deadline, but still a shock, to say the least. So Nolan drops down to six, and that means Benny and Dallas move up, and you see the odds change. That means Benny has a better chance. Dallas still has not a good chance at getting a higher pick, but it still could happen. You never know. So we're gonna draw another ball while Jew gets those stats going.
All
That
right.
is a ball drawn for pick five. So Ben just got a ball. We have three to go. Okay. Another ball for Benny right there. So
You know,
this could be huge for Dallas. Another ball for pick five. So Benny most likely has the best chance at being picked right now. That's what I'm seeing. Is that what you're seeing too, Jew?
I think so.
That's what I'm seeing. Oh my gosh. Ben gets pick five as originally thought. Now, this is crazy because Dallas, he was six and he's slowly climbing up the rank right now, which is insane.
Let's do a quick review. I believe I've got
Got the stats now?
I believe so.
All right,
Ah,
so
here we go. All right, let's take a look here. We're pulling up some of Nolan's transactions. Nolan was fairly quiet throughout the season. He made a couple of trades early on. He dumped Kenneth Walker pretty early in the season.
hmm
Uh, and a pick. It wasn't the greatest trade on his end. Traded Kenneth Walker and a fifth round pick for Keenan Allen and Kamara. Kamara quietly was very quiet this year. He's known to be a very explosive running back, and he wasn't really there this year. Keenan Allen was that Chargers wide receiver room was very unpredictable. It was a new guy every week. It was Quentin Johnston at first, and then it was Keenan Allen for a couple of weeks, and then Lad McConkey was in the mix. So, and then he had another trade. He ended up trading Kamara right away, and
hmm
it took Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is shaping up to be one of the top keeper picks for this year.
Yep.
At the deadline, he was pretty quiet. He did the massive three-way deal with Colin and myself, not myself, sorry, and Jake. Um, Jake ended up with Saquon and Justin Jefferson, and Nolan offloaded
hmm
Jefferson, and now he's got Teteroa McMillan, also another keeper. So,
Another
Nolan,
great
Nolan
keeper.
didn't make any, crazy moves, but it seems as though he's put himself, in a decent position for
Yeah.
a shot
So
here.
so
So
that
really
that dropping isn't too
is
much of an issue, but definitely
definitely.
definitely a shock
All
for
right,
sure.
and we'll talk a little bit about Ben here.
Oh my
Benny,
gosh.
obviously, we talked a little bit about him already. He had a tough going. His roster was dwindling. He was starting. His wide receiver one at the end of the year was DK Metcalf, and
Mm.
his running back one was Amarian Hampton, who spent majority of the year on IR, and
hmm
RJ Harvey, who had a late season surge, but nothing to help him throughout the beginning of the season. He made some good trades towards the end of the deadline. He got rid of uh, he got rid of Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall and
hmm
got himself a pick and some money. Um, and then he traded away Kyron Williams
Okay.
straight up for a second round pick, which will help him a lot. He ended up with four second round picks
Wow.
after doing some trading. One pick that is a little tough is, I mean, he managed a second round pick out of it, but he moved on from George Pickens, and George Pickens is looking like he might do some damage
hmm
this year.
Yeah, he looks like a solid option.
But
Even though he's not going to be paid quite yet,
yep,
I'm sure he'll get a good contract and he's going to be a good player. He's going to be a good player for foreseeable future for whether it be the Cowboys or another team. 100%.
and the
So
thing,
that's definitely a loss.
Benny's got a lot going for him this year. It'll be hard to see him lose if he does, because he's got all the cards in his
Yep.
hand. He's got
Yep.
everything going for him.
So just
And he's
remind
got-
me, Drew, how many picks does Nolan have in the first two rounds? Because those are the biggest picks. Those are the biggest picks.
Let's take a look at Nolan's team here.
Because Benny, it sounds like he has a ton. He has a lot.
Nolan he only has two picks in the first two rounds, but he's got two picks in the third round. And the
Okay.
third round can be good. Like, obviously it's not that first round powerhouse picks or the second round supporting cast,
Mhm.
but he's got good picks from he's got two picks in the third round. The only thing I may be concerned about for Nolan is he has no picks in the fifth, sixth, or eighth round.
Interesting.
So, he's gonna have a decent amount of star power, but he might need to make a couple of moves to
Yeah.
to get a more filled out roster.
Well,
And
all that to be said. We
And
have the
and
fourth pick now. Fourth pick
on to
up and
the
coming.
fourth pick.
So all that analysis. Now let's go over the rules just real quick. Just because we can. Just because we've been wasting people's time with all the
So
stats. Let's do it
I'm
more.
gonna
Let's build more suspense, okay?
I'm gonna ask a question here about these odds. I'm assuming that the 7.4% next to Dallas's name is the odds of him getting the first overall pick.
Yes, yes, exactly
Okay,
that.
I see. So
All right.
he's got a very, very different percentage compared to Chase, but
Mhm.
7% is more than zero.
Yeah.
So
So now, as we look at this, I mean, here's the thing. It's just picking of the order, right?
mhm.
So this is where it gets interesting because you can you can really sway whoever really does get that first pick has more power of where they want to choose,
They can pick one and they
right?
can take the best player available, or they
Exactly.
plan their draft and take something that three or four so they have better options throughout the rest of the draft. It'll be really interesting to see uh, how it plays out because you're only picking where you are in the snake draft for your picks. I'm looking at a guy like Benny. He's got 4 second round picks, but three of those obviously aren't his. So it's gonna depend on where those other players are picking.
Yep.
He's got control, but he only has so much control.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
getting that first overall pick or getting that higher overall pick in this lottery is very important.
Yep. All right, let's draw another ball. Let's get on to the pick number four here. We've been waiting for it for a while. 11 for pick four. 12 for pick four. Six, one ball to go.
Is it gonna be Dallas? The run
Dallas,
ends. He
as
moves up
as
two, which is
per
good.
what we thought. Now, this is interesting. Obviously, Dallas, great fantasy player, but sold at the deadline. He sold everything.
He
I'm not
sucked.
sure how many picks he has, but I know one of those guys, he has a lot of picks
Yeah,
in this round.
there was probably one of the most controversial deals that this league has ever
Hmm.
seen. And we've only been around for a year, but you can tell that it was a controversial. Let's go through that trade again.
Yeah, we should.
So a trade between Dilly 84 and Billings 18, the runner-up this year. For I saw auto drafted. He had one of, if not the best team in the league. And this was the trade that went down. So Dilly received Alvin Kamara, Jordan Addison, a first round pick, and a fourth round pick for
Mm.
Jahmyr Gibbs and Jackson Smith and Jigba, two of the best fantasy players last year. And Dilly, he was playing all right. And then he just kind of fell off the rails. He was pretty quiet up until then. He only made a few trades
Yep.
here and there. Nothing crazy, just a couple of scrubs for scrubs.
But
And this was his
yeah,
biggest and only deal, but it landed him a first round pick. So, he has the fourth selection. So he's going to get a decent spot in this draft. And then he also has another first round pick on top of that.
yeah.
And just as a reminder here, uh, because Billings 18 do not have their first round pick, they will still be selecting their position in the snake draft because the ownership of that control does not transfer over to Dallas because Billings 18 obviously still has majority of their picks. So they're making their draft strategy based on the picks that they have that are theirs. So they'll still get to pick where they are, but that first round pick is going to go to Dallas. So Dallas has two picks in the first round, which is, if he
Now,
gets those picks right, oh, that'll be a scary sight to see.
yeah, I agree. That will be good for him. Yeah, one of the most controversial trades of all time. I
Mhm.
will say, trading two high caliber players to get a first and a second when clearly in the league there was an opportunity for two firsts. It will go down as one of the most controversial trades.
He definitely
And
could
it's
have gotten
only a
more.
fresh. it's our second year in the first year. I can't even believe it, Jew.
Yeah.
That is wild. I can't believe it.
But you know what? I'm looking at his team now, and it may have been the right decision for Dallas to
Mhm.
offload those two guys for picks because after those two guys, there wasn't much going on for his team. Seems as though he wasn't, obviously he lost Jaden Daniels, and Daniels was a very promising quarterback.
Yeah.
But I've honestly, I'm looking at his team right now, and I think his best player may have been his kicker.
Oh, well, Dallas, you know what? You got the fourth. You moved up, so it's a good start. We'll see how he goes in the draft because obviously these won't be the final draft board. It might change, and that's the cool part. So let's draw another ball. Let's do third, and as you can see, um, Chase has the worst odds of getting first. Right now, Dane is considered a lock. But we're doing the third draw. And it doesn't show the math, but we're just gonna do it.
12.
Three.
I'm feeling
All right.
Dane hitting this one.
You're feeling Dane.
I was wrong.
Chase
I
and
might get
Chase.
fired, Cam.
Well, Jew, you know what? You've been a good analytics guy so far, and you know what they say about analytics. Gotta trust them.
All right,
Um,
let's pull up Chase here from last year.
mhm.
He just missed out on the playoffs. He went 500 exactly, 7-7. His team was pretty good. Obviously he decided to offload a little bit at the end there. He made four trades at the deadline after not making a single move all year. Some might say that's a little bit gay. Some might say that's a lot gay. Either way, it's gay.
It's gay. Well, you know what? Sounds like Chase is gay. That's what I'm hearing.
We'll go
That's what I'm
through
hearing.
we'll go through his some of his trades here. Um, he traded away Marvin Harrison for a pick. And give me a second here because my app just crashed.
Well, you know what? I think that's enough about Chase. I think we should move on to the dramatic, the reveal.
The
And it's
dramatic
gonna
finish.
it's gonna
Yeah,
reveal.
fuck you, Chase.
Yeah, Chase, fuck you, Chase. I don't know you, but fuck you, Chase. All right, Hunter, Dane, for
Let's give a
this is
little background here before we move on.
hmm let's do it.
Hunter and Dane, two decent teams here. They both were just on the cusp of making the playoffs. Dane finished eighth, and Hunter finished 10th. Hunter had a lot of injury luck this year, and it seems he kind of gave up on his season pretty early and just tried to do his best to prepare for the second keeper season, which is a good strategy. You see the other teams have better rosters than you, and instead of fighting to try and compete with powerhouses, you just throw the white flag and do your best for next year. And he did so in a way that he wasn't in jeopardy of eating 63 hot dogs. So
Exactly, but
props to him
unfortunately,
for
I
that.
think Benny had that locked up.
Yeah. So
Unfortunately.
props to him. Hunter and Dane actually faced off against each other in the uh, consolation bracket
hmm
final, and Dane ended up taking the win by looks like 14 points, give or take. So, Dane just beat Hunter to get that number one odds to decide where he picks. And you can see that represented by the percentage. He's got us just slightly over 50%, which is more, but obviously, like those two teams are neck and neck, and he doesn't have a crazy advantage.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens here, Cam.
All right, here we go, Jew. Let's draw the balls.
Do you have a prediction? You think Dane is gonna keep it, or you think Hunter's gonna take it away?
You know what? There's been a lot of movement in the bottom half of this draft. So I really do think it's going to go to Dane. I do think that
Yep.
we're just going to have a very simplistic draft lottery. It's nothing crazy, and I think Dane, I think he's gonna be able to take this pick. All right, let's draw a ball. Number one. Now, what does that mean? Five. Who knows?
This could mean anything.
It could mean anything.
And it looks
And
Hunter
Dane.
is getting the second round pick. So, Dane, congratulations. You have won the draft lottery. Let's just lock that in here.
Yeah.
So, I'll give one more reminder, Dane. Jake will be reaching out to you shortly after this video
Mhm.
is posted, and he will ask, where you want to pick. Maybe he'll give a couple of hours. Wait, how many hours did they say? I think they said 24 hours per
Yeah.
pick.
24 hours was the what I overheard from Sam and Jake. So, yeah, this is the draft board. So after Dane has made his decision on where he wants to pick, and reminder, it is a snake draft. It's a
Yes,
snake draft.
you are
So
picking where you want. So if you're
exactly.
picking number one, then you're picking 12th. In
Second
your
round.
pick is going to be pick number 12. Dane, I'm excited to see what he does with his roster because he made one trade at the
Yeah.
deadline and he traded for Kyron Williams because he thought he had a chance to make the playoffs here and he couldn't get it done. But he's got some interesting keepers. He's got Jackson Dart, he's got Devonta Smith. Looks like he could keep Diggs maybe. A guy that I think he'll keep on his roster, Emeka Egbuka.
Oh my
That
gosh,
guy's,
what a
especially
rookie
with the
play.
depart of Mike Evans going to 49ers. I think Egbuka is going to be a nuclear player this year. And Hunter has a very top heavy draft. He's got, let me just count this out real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 12. In the first 7 rounds, he has 12 picks.
Yeah, so a lot of picks.
He's got a lot of picks, and he's got some decent keepers too. He's got Quinshawn Judkins, Chris Olave, Rashi Rice if he stays out of trouble. He's got a couple of good options for his keeper. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how these teams plan their drafts. Obviously, these top three guys have the most control, and it'll be interesting to see how they play about their picks.
All
And
right.
one more reminder before we wrap it up here. Um, you can trade picks for this draft. So if somebody wants to trade, and we're going to be doing live trading in the draft as well. So if you decide, hey, I don't want this pick, you can pull another GM aside and make the pick. The draft time will be increased a little bit just to allow for those picks. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna see how it goes. We're
All
gonna see
right.
how it goes.
Well, these are the final draft, and we're gonna take it back to Sam and Jake in the studio. But this is the draft board. We got Dane, who's gonna be has the number one pick
Select.
to select where he wants, and then it goes Hunter, Chase, Dallas, Ben, Nolan. Some great. All right, we're gonna stop sharing. Drew, thank you for hosting with me. A lot of analytics, a lot of talking, and we're gonna take it back up to the studio with Sam and Jake.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Cam.
All right.
It's a pleasure. Enjoy the rest
Been
of
a
your
pleasure.
vacation, man.
Yeah, I will. All right. All right. Good luck to the league, and I hope everyone enjoyed our viewing, our hosting of this draft lottery.
All right. Peace out.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Cam and
you, Drew and
Michael. That was
Cam.
round of applause. Well done.
Drew and
All right,
Cam.
guys.
Good stuff.
That's a draft lottery.
Super simple.
Yeah, it's super
Okay.
simple. Everybody went over it. Or Cam and Drew went over it and they described it really well. So hopefully that was exciting. We had a fun time watching it. Yeah, but that's the draft. That's the order right there. We had
Yep.
Dane, Hunter, Chase, um, Dallas, Benny, then Nolan.
Yep.
Okay.
And
So we're
the
gonna
rest of the people will pick. That was already decided. There's no lottery for that. It's just
Mhm.
based on the finishing of the year. So obviously, I
Exactly.
myself will be picking last, and then Mitch, and so on and so forth. Uh, I'm gonna just quickly reiterate. Uh, no draft pick trading for the upcoming year. So any picks, because we're doing a dynasty startup, it's a clean slate. All the rosters will be cut or like reset, but you can trade picks for this year. So if anyone wants to make moves, and like trade up or trade down, once the lottery, or you can do that anytime, anytime, and
All
up
right.
until the draft, obviously, and in the draft too.
All right. Well, hope you guys have a good rest of the day. We'll be reaching out to you guys and good luck this season.
Peace out, guys.